Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We are going to be hanging out I'm going to shoot for an hour tonight. What's new with you guys? I uploaded a video earlier today. It was basically my rankings of the Disney era of Star Wars live action movies and shows. So if you haven't watched that, yeah, check it out. But yeah, man, so I tried to play Starfield earlier this morning. I installed it yesterday, and I got an opportunity to try to launch it this morning, but as soon as I clicked launch the game on Steam, it didn't even let me launch it. It brought up an error, and it flat out told me your graphics card is not supported. So I'm going to have to wait to play that game until I build a new PC, which I don't know when that's going to be. It's going to be a while. It's not really in our budget right now. We got a lot of trips coming up. We got a lot of stuff we're doing to the house. We just had to buy a new washer, and we got some new stuff for the house. So, like, the budget for a new computer is not there. Maybe in a year or two, we shall see. But welcome, guys. Carter, good to see you, man. Mr. Nick, Frosty Arcade, Minato Namikaze, 80s Kid from the 90s, the Free Rocket Man, Darth Something, Elder Pug, Mr. Star Wars Galaxies. Yeah, your name will always and forever remind me of Galaxies, my friend. It's very rare that someone shares the same affinity for that game. There was a very specific time frame of human beings who appreciated and loved and played that game, and we're among them. So, it's always nice to be in your company. Rogue Outlaw, Double or Nothing, Dylan Robin, Mando 93, Locust Boy, and Swishfish. Swishfish, thank you so much for coming in with the first super chat and channel support of this stream. Swishfish says, her Swish is. Oh, this is rankings. Okay, Swish says number 1 is Mando Season 3, Episode 3. Number 2 is TLJ. Number 3 is The Force Awakens. Same reason you love The Phantom Menace, the memories. Yeah, the memories, the nostalgia for certain movies definitely ramps up your appreciation for it, right? 4 is Rogue One. You know, I know you don't like it. That's okay. 99, everything else. Yeah. For me, there's a whole lot of everything else on my list as well, if I did it that way. But interesting, Mando Season 3, Episode 3. Yeah, I mean, most of you guys know, if you watch, especially if you watch that video or you've hopped on live streams recently, the first season of Mandalorian is what really appealed to me. I liked the second season well enough, but I feel like the show kind of lost its uniqueness and its originality after the first season, which is a bummer, you know. But I dig your list there, Swish. We're all different, right? We all got a different top 10, top 1,000 Star Wars. And we can, at least I can, you know, appreciate anyone's list, because Star Wars and rankings and people's loves and dislikes of different Star Wars projects is proof in itself that everyone's different, you know. It's funny, sometimes I'll look at my comment section on a video like I uploaded today, and there's a couple people that are just slinging mud, and I'm like, did you miss the message of the video, man? Like, are you full of so much assholishness that even a video that is like a quarter of it is just like, hey man, like what you like, just be cool, dude, hang 10. You still have to be an asshole in the comment section on a video like that? Come on, man. Come on, man. But anyway, Swish, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's funny what the nostalgia for certain things, your memories, outside of the thing itself, can do to your enjoyment of the thing years later, you know. That's how the Phantom, as you said, that's how the Phantom Menace is for me. Like, I was 13 when that movie came out, and I have a lot of love for that movie, and a lot of that love is based off of the hype, the anticipation, you know, the worldwide buzz, and the memories I have of seeing the movie and with family and friends, and just being a part of that that buzz, But it's interesting. Anyway, Swish, I appreciate that. Cheers. Monado, Smiles and Scars, and Jim Nelson and Eli Roth, thank you guys so much for the super chats as well this evening. Monado says, I am not feeling Ahsoka, the character. It feels like Sabine is carrying hard. What are your thoughts? Maybe Andor spoiled me. I've been saying that for a while, Monado. Andor definitely spoiled me. It just appealed to every fiber in my being. It it had a lot of political intrigue, and it was like a political thriller, a drama, and it was so well shot. The quality, in my opinion, is light years above the quality of something like Ahsoka or Kenobi or the Book of Boba Fett or even the Mandalorian for that matter. So yeah, I've been saying that for a while now, Monado, that Andor kind of spoiled me. But I'm with you. I haven't watched the latest episode of Ahsoka. I didn't get around to watching that yesterday or today. I'm planning on it tomorrow when I'm at the station. I actually am working a swap with someone, and I'm working at a very slow station tomorrow that doesn't average very many calls in a day, which will be a nice little change of pace for me. So I will. I'll probably have time to watch the latest episode of Ahsoka. Without question, I will. So I am looking forward to watching it. I keep hoping the show is gonna. I'm gonna find a little more enjoyment in the show. But as of right now, Ahsoka is just kind of. It's not really appealing to me, and I fear that it's gonna fall into the category of like the Book of Boba Fett or even Kenobi, where those two shows were very forgettable for me. I know a lot of people like them a lot, but they're pretty forgettable to me. But anyway, I appreciate that, Monado. Cheers, man. I hope you're doing well. Let me take a quick sip here. All right, Smiles and Scars, thank you so much as well. Mr. Scars says, Andor and TLJ, the rest. Andor and TLJ feel like they challenge the medium like the original 6. More innovation with the medium is what I want. I'm with you. I'm not a fan of when things become formulaic. I'm not a fan of when it feels like we're kind of mulching over the same shit. And so many of the shows that we've gotten in the past few years, they feel so similar to one another. And I'm with you. Andor, relative to the other shows that we've gotten, feels like a nice change of direction. It feels like just the overall quality of it from every aspect, it was a breath of fresh air, because again, I just feel like so many of those shows feel so similar to one another, but that's what I want too, Scars. I want Star Wars projects that push the boundaries. I want Star Wars projects that as you said, challenge the medium. I want Star Wars projects that think outside of the box. I have zero desire to just continuously revisit things that we've seen before. I don't really. I mean, I get it. We love what we love, but I can't put my brain in the thought process of somebody who constantly wants a Grievous movie or another Darth Vader movie or you know what I mean? I just, my brain is so wildly different than that. That kind of stuff makes me roll my eyes because we've seen all these characters before. I want new stuff. I want new challenging stuff. I want new interesting stuff. I want to push the boundaries of what a Star Wars thing can be, But yeah. I know people just eat that stuff up, and that's fine. That's fine. You know, every Star Wars fan's different. Star Wars is known for kind of rehashing and bringing back familiar things. But I would much rather have... shit, man, if you watch my early videos of when they announced that they were going to be making new Star Wars movies... Because I started this channel in 2011. I started this channel in 2011, a year before Disney acquired the franchise. Like, we had no idea back then that we were ever going to get new Star Wars stuff. But as soon as they announced it, you can go back and watch my videos. I talk about how, you know, obviously I'm a huge fan of the original trilogy. I don't think anything will ever top those 3 films for me, just because, you know, the love that I had as a kid for those movies, and it's what I grew up with. And despite loving those characters more than any other character in anything ever, even in those videos, I said I wanted them to take a back seat and have a new generation of heroes, you know, helm the franchise. Even back then, I didn't want to bring back constantly familiar characters that I love more than any other character in movies, you know? But, shit, man. I made that video like 12 years ago or something like that, which is crazy. But, anyway, Mr. Scars, I appreciate that. I'm with you. I'm with you. I want innovation. I want to push the boundaries. When things start to feel formulaic and feel like one another, I lose interest, you know. But anyway, cheers, man. Jim Nelson and Eli Roth, thank you guys so much. Jim says, Indy 5, Andor, and TLJ, best Disney Lucasfilm stuff. I still haven't seen the new Indiana Jones. We are actually going to watch it on Saturday night. Me and my wife are going to watch it on Saturday night. We just haven't had a chance. We didn't get a chance to go watch it in the movie theater. We chose to go see Oppenheimer instead when we had the opportunity to go see something. When we had a babysitter. Yeah, we haven't had an opportunity to sit down and watch it together on the couch. So, Saturday is Dial of Destiny night, and I'm looking forward to it. I've heard great things about it. My buddy, who I say we see eye to eye on most things when it comes to movies. He thoroughly enjoyed it, which gives me hope that I will too. But yeah, Jim. I can't speak on Indy 5, but I'm with you when you say Andor and TLJ are the best Disney Lucasfilm stuff. I wholeheartedly agree there, man. I like this song. I don't know if you can hear it very well. Just relaxing. Can you hear it? We're just taking a little trip through intergalactic space. Anyway. Speaking of intergalactic space, there is an incredible short story that I read last night. I didn't get to bed till like 2:30 in the morning, and then I had to take my daughter to school in the morning. It was a bad decision, but I stayed up that late because I was playing New World until like 1. Then I laid in bed and started reading my Kindle. I'm rereading Heir to the Empire. And after a little while, I was like, I need a break. I need a Star Wars break. So I flipped through my Kindle, and I was looking at, you know, some free stuff on the Kindle store or whatever. There is it's just a 28-page short story. Let me look. What is it called? Space Between Star. It's called Slow Time Between the Stars. Slow Time Between the Stars. And I don't want to spoil anything. It's basically about an AI that humanity makes to go and basically seed a planet in the Goldilocks zone that it finds in the Milky Way galaxy. And this 28-page short story is from the perspective of the artificial intelligence that is traveling through space. It's so well written and imaginative and deep. I loved it. So if you're looking for something that, won't take you very long to read, it's only 28 pages. It's a great short story. It's called Slow Time Between the Stars by John Scalzi. And it's if you have a Kindle and you're a Prime member, it's free. So I highly recommend it. And if you're not a Prime member, it's $1. And it's worth $1. Yeah. That's your homework tonight. 28 pages called Slow Time Between the Stars. It's great. Anyway. Eli Roth, Monado, Oscar, and Oscar, thank you guys so much. Eli says, Ahsoka really ranks high for me because his themes of masters, apprentices, and failure felt like a natural evolution. As TLJ, a movie I love. Interesting. Yeah, I do like the relation. Again, I haven't watched the latest episode, but so far one of my favorite aspects of the show is that relationship between Ahsoka and Sabine, and seeing how that relationship differs from other master and apprentice relationships that we've seen in the past. That is one of the positives of the show for me. But overall, with any project, I'm gonna find something that I like in it, even if I don't like it overall, But right now, as of right now, watching 3 episodes. Again, I haven't watched the 4th one. I'm not the biggest fan of it. As Monado said earlier, I think Andor spoiled me with the quality of that show. But I'm glad you like it, Eli. I'm glad you like it. I'm hoping as the show goes on to enjoy it more. Because it could definitely grow on me. That theme isn't exclusive to, Ahsoka and Sabine. It's also with Baylan and Shin, and so yeah, that is an interesting look at the show, and it's definitely one of the more positive things, those relationships, for sure. Yeah, hopefully Eli, I get on board with it over the next few episodes. Again, I'm going to watch the next episode tomorrow at the station. And I've heard that it's the best one yet. So I'm crossing my fingers that I'm going to enjoy it more, and it's going to kind of kickstart an appreciation for the show that an enjoyment of the show that I just don't really have right now, But anyway, Eli Roth, cheers, man. And Monado says, The Force Awakens will turn 10 in 2 years. Do you think the generation that grew up with them will start demanding sequel content the same way prequel fans did? Yeah, of course. I think that's just the generational ebb and flow of Star Wars. When Battlefront 2015 came out, there was no original trilogy. There was no prequel content in Battlefront 2015, right? It was all original trilogy stuff. And I didn't really hear very many complaints about that. I mean, occasionally I would, but I didn't. It wasn't a major complaint. Now, when Battlefront 2 that came out in 2017, and they introduced prequel era content, there was a loud uproar from the community, from the fan base, wanting more prequel content. And the developers and the team behind the game just started making more and more and more and more prequel content. And obviously, I don't think it would have happened without the rumble of the community and the people that love those movies. Because the people who were demanding prequel era content, I'm assuming, maybe were a little younger, and years ago they didn't have a voice on the internet, and now they did, and they're like, hey man, where's my prequel content? I want to run and gun in Battlefront 2 as, I don't know, a battle droid, So yeah, I think that is the generational ebb and flow. In 5-10 years, the kids who were kids when The Force Awakens came out, they're going to be on the internet. They're going to have a YouTube channel. They're going to be shitting on everybody who didn't like those movies. Going to be calling... it's just going to be... I think every generation is going to have their own Star Wars. And there's really nothing you can do about it. And it's kind of beautiful, every generation Star Wars is a little different than what came before. And it's geared towards a different generation. A different generation is going to pick up on different things and going to appreciate, their era of Star Wars and demand more of that era of Star Wars, So, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate that, Manada. It's hard to believe. In 2 years, it's going to be 10 years old. That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. 10 years ago, me and my wife had just bought our first house. Downtown Jacksonville. Like a really tiny 1,000 square foot home that was built in 1940 something. And got a great deal on it, refurbished it. And it was right next to some breweries, like a mile away from some breweries, and we used to ride our bikes up there. Great restaurants. Like, every city has a cool hip downtown area, and we lived like right in Jacksonville's area like that. And yeah, then The Force Awakens came out, and that was definitely a fun era for the channel. There was more I don't know, I had more time to devote to it, obviously, than I do now. I didn't have the same career that I do now. We didn't have, a 5-year-old running around causing chaos all day in the house. I wouldn't want to go back to those days, of course, but yeah, I got fond memories from back then, for sure. But anyway, good times. Anyway, I appreciate that, Monado. Oscar Rodriguez, good to see you, man. Oscar says, I just realized Disney Star Wars movies follow a thematic pattern. The Force Awakens and Rogue One celebrate the original trilogy, with one being nostalgic and the other darker. TLJ and Solo, nobody's rising from obscurity. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could follow that pattern. I think they're... I think... Well... I'm trying to think. So The Force Awakens and Rogue One feel very different to me. One is almost an homage. One is almost a reboot, you know. As much as I love The Force Awakens, I'm not blind to see that. And Rogue One was almost like a prologue. It was almost like, I mean, it basically was. Rogue One wasn't an homage. It wasn't a reboot. It was almost a reimagining. Not a reimagining. It was a I don't know, taking our curiosities of what happened right before A New Hope, literally right before A New Hope, and feeding it to us. I see those movies very differently, but I guess I can see the similarities in a thematic sense, a pattern. But I'm definitely going to be watching Rogue One again. It's been years since I've watched that. I might even watch it tomorrow. Again, I did a swap with someone tomorrow, and I'm going to be at a one of the slowest stations in the department, and it only averages a couple calls a day. So I'm planning on writing a few scripts tomorrow, video scripts. I'm planning on watching the newest Ahsoka episode, and I might even watch Rogue One. The only bummer about watching Rogue One at the station is that it would be on my laptop, and you know, I'd rather watch it on the big screen, but you know, gotta make do. But anyway, I appreciate that, Oscar. Catherine, I've never read any of the Star Wars movie novelizations. I never have. It's kind of surprising to me too. I guess I should. Oh, one sec. Oh, why didn't the robot read it? Usually the... Oh, there you go.
Just Star Wars is The Rise of Skywalker, and my favorite trilogy is the sequel trilogy. Deeply shaped me in my love for watching films as art, intimately getting to know every detail. Thanks.
Jordan. My man. Jordan. Or you, I don't know if you're a man or not. Jordan is kind of an either or name. I'm going to say my man. Jordan, I greatly appreciate that super chat and channel support, but more than that, I appreciate what you just said. Let me read it. I know the robot read it. I don't know if you could hear it though. Jordan says, my favorite film, not just Star Wars, is The Rise of Skywalker, and my favorite trilogy is the sequel trilogy. Deeply shaped me in my love for watching films as art, intimately getting to know every detail. Thanks. I really appreciate that comment there, man. You might know this, but The Rise of Skywalker is one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. It's like so low on my list. But if it appealed to you that much, and the sequel trilogy appealed to you that much, there you go, Jordan. Okay, there you go. There you go. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, I know Jordans that aren't men. There you go. I apologize. But I appreciate you saying that, because, you know, it's so interesting to me that my generation, so many people that got into movies or interested in a movie or even make movies grew up with the original trilogy, and that's what that was their springboard into appreciating the medium on a wider scale, you know. And then you had the generation after mine that got into the prequels, and after years and years and years, we find out that those movies had the same impact on them as the original trilogy did on us. And the same is true for the sequel trilogy in this generation. Or maybe not this generation, but those who are even older and just didn't ever watch a Star Wars, but they fell in love with this era of Star Wars. So if the sequel trilogy, if The Rise of Skywalker did that for you, then it did its job, because the original trilogy got me into loving movies as a whole. And if the sequel trilogy did that for you, if The Rise of Skywalker did that for you, then, the recipe is there. The recipe is there. You said it deeply shaped you and my love for watching films as art. That is the best case scenario for Star Wars, I think. I mean, yeah, you watch a Star Wars movie and maybe you really get into the franchise and you want to know all the nitty-gritty details and blah, 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 blah. But I think more important than that is, watching these movies and getting a deeper appreciation for the medium. Because again, if it wasn't for Star Wars, I wouldn't be a fan, the fan of movies that I am today. It was, it's really interesting for me to think about, would I love movies as a whole as much as I do today if Star Wars wasn't a thing, or would something else have filled that void for me, been a springboard other than Star Wars? I don't know, but I appreciate you sharing that, Jordan. They did something right then, right? And even if I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, I'm a fan of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. But even if I'm not a fan of The Rise of Skywalker, that doesn't matter. There's people out there like you that love it. And, became an entry point. It became a springboard for a broader love of film, Jordan says, definitely know what you mean. I'm interested to see if I see their influence in the movies to come. Funny thing is, I grew up on the prequels, but they never gave me that magic like others. Yeah, they didn't for me either. And I got excited for the movies. I got excited for all the prequel movies. I went and saw them all at midnight, But it was more about the community. It was more about the togetherness. It was more about being a Star Wars fan than it was enjoying those flicks. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, Jordan, cheers. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, that's cool. That's great. I love it. But yeah, I appreciate that channel support as well. Have a fantastic evening. Other than Star Wars, guys, I'm curious. Other than Star Wars, what movies acted as that springboard for you? If you're really into movies as a whole. Maybe you're just into Star Wars, but if you're into movies as a whole, what other flicks kind of propelled that love? I'm curious. I got mine. The Apollo 13, The Right Stuff. Obviously, Back to the Future. But there's certain movies that even the original Dawn of the Dead, certain movies made me go, oh shit, a movie can be like this? The original Clerks, the first Clerks even. You go, whoa, a movie can be this? Yeah. Has your involvement in the Navy affected how you view Star Wars at all, Fredley? I guess in a way, certain leadership qualities and characters, or, when,
Would you rather see a Band of Brothers type series following a group of stormtroopers post-Yavin, or an Andor style series that does a deep dive into the crime syndicates, Black Sun, Huts, etc.?
There you go. Andrew, and thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. Yeah, I guess certain leadership qualities, when I saw the scene when everybody was bent out of shape about, Holdo not disclosing information to Poe, kind of the details of the plan and whatnot. in my head, I'm like, oh, that happens all the time in real life. Like on deployment, we barely knew what the hell we were doing. Like the CO didn't come over and tell us all what the hell we were doing. Like, so from that point of view, I was like, that didn't bother me at all, just because I've been there. Another thing was like, you know, my squadron flew SH-60 Bravo Seahawk helicopters, and they were built in like 1985. Literally like 2000, like literally like 30-year-old helicopters we were flying. So when people were complaining about, you know, seeing the same type of technology in the sequel trilogy as they did with the original trilogy, I was like, oh, like in the real world, that happens all the time. Like we still fly bombers from like the 60s. We still cruise on Navy vessels that are like 40, 50 years old. You know what I mean? So like in the real, that stuff didn't bother me just because I have real world experience and examples. So I don't know, certain things like that kind of shaped me, I guess, but not much else. Not much else. Andrew N, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Andrew N says, would you rather see a Band of Brothers type series following a group of stormtroopers post Yavin, or an Andor style series that does a deep dive into the crime syndicates, Black Sun, Huts, etc.? Ooh. You know, I would say that's tough because I would love both. I'm gonna say a Band of Brothers style Stormtrooper show. That's something that would really appeal to me. Like if they deeply humanized a squad of Stormtroopers, and we followed them through various missions, or even just, you know, the day-to-day, that would really appeal to me. Not making them like the good guys, or, you know, you would have conflicting personalities. Somebody just like I did when I was on deployment. Conflicting personalities, you know, like some people just believe in the mission so much, and some people question everything, and you could have some really interesting internal conversations among stormtroopers, which humanizes them.
What are your
and one sec.
thoughts on Heir to the Empire now that you're doing your reread? Also, do you plan on continuing your Inside Star Wars series for all the movies that were released after TFA?
Mr. Nick, thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. But yeah, so Andrew, I think I would go with the Band of Brothers Stormtrooper series. Just because that's something that I've actually wanted for a while. You could do some pretty interesting stuff. I wouldn't want it to be like all balls to the wall action, boom boom bang bang, shoot 'em up. You know, even just simple barracks conversations would be really interesting. You know, because you could really lay out in an interesting way, like the galactic conflict, but within a group of stormtroopers that are conflicted themselves. You know, it'd be an interesting way to kind of look at the various sides of the conflict, the mentalities, the opinions, the persuasions of what that galactic conflict meant to the individual, you know. Yeah, I would really dig that. But there's a really good fan film called Jakku First Wave. I don't know if you've seen it, Andrew. It's only like 3 minutes long, but it's great. Yeah, just Google Jakku First Wave. It's great. I think you'll enjoy it. Exactly, Andrew. He says, yeah, for sure. You can see all the different reasons people join: money, loyalty, family, adventure, escaping poverty, all that. Yep, just like the real world, for sure. Yep. Some people just don't know what else to do, right? That was my case. I would love to say that I did. I mean, I would love to say that I enlisted for a sense of patriotism and pride and love for my country, which, you know, I have. But really, the main reason that I enlisted was because I was 21. I dropped out of 2 colleges. I didn't know what else the hell to do. So I just went to a recruiter one morning and I was like, I just want to go. No. Yeah. Be interesting for sure. But anyway, Andrew, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, check it out. Jakku First Wave. It's solid. After you watch that little 3-minute Jakku First Wave fan film, I think you'll want that idea even more, because I think it does a really good job of like seeing what that could be, you know. But because so many fan films, and this isn't a bash, but it's a fact, really. So many fan films are like almost just After Effects lightsaber or blaster tests, you know, like just so heavy on the effects and like the action and whatever that stuff. I mean, sometimes it's cool, but Jakku First Wave is all dialogue. Same with another one of my favorite Star Wars fan films, what shit was it called? Star Wars Last Days? Oh, what's it called? Oh my god, how am I blanking on it? Lost Days? Is it Lost Days? I'm gonna find the name. Oh yeah, Days Past. If you want another great Star Wars fan film that's basically all dialogue, really well done, really well acted, it's called Days Past, a Star Wars fan film. It's fantastic. But anyway, Mr. Nick, Darth Nicholas, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening as well. Nick says, what are your overall thoughts on Heir to the Empire now that you're doing your reread? Also, do you plan on continuing your Inside Star Wars series for all the movies that were released after The Force Awakens? So with Inside Star Wars, I would love to. As of right now, I have no plans to kind of resurrect that series. You probably know this, but I made a Inside Star Wars The Force Awakens video. I uploaded it like 24 hours after the home, like the DVD, the Blu-ray came out, and I uploaded it, and it got immediately taken down for copyright infringement. Immediately. Which was a bummer. I actually uploaded on Patreon maybe a year ago or so. So nobody had seen it from 2016 to 2022. Nobody had seen it. And then I just decided to upload it on Patreon. And it's still up there. But yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'll do an Inside Star Wars video again. What I've always wanted to do was Inside Star Wars The Holiday Special. I think that would be pretty fun. A slavish devotion to the source material. I like that, Pat. I like that. That's a really good way to put things. That's a really good way to put things, for sure. But yeah, Nick, so you asked, what are my overall thoughts on Heir to the Empire now that you're doing your reread? So yeah, for those who might not know, I'm rereading Heir to the Empire. The last time that I read it, I was in middle school. I got that book from a middle school scholastic book fair, and I read it, and that's the last time I read it. I barely remember anything from it. I'm sure a lot of it went over my head, you know, back then. But I have to say, I'm like 25% done with it. I haven't really been able to get that into it. Like, I've gotten way more into the modern Thrawn books than I have Heir to the Empire. That's not to say that they're similar, you know. It's not like Heir to the Empire is all about Thrawn. Those books are all about Thrawn, but it hasn't had the same pull as other Timothy Zahn books that I've read. I'll put it that way. I've enjoyed it so far. I kind of expected to like really get into it more than I have. And it's interesting because during this reread, I also kind of expected like little moments and things to kind of stick out to me because, you know, I read it 30 years ago or whatever it was. But no, nothing has come back to me. Nothing has come back to me. Nothing feels familiar. So it's almost like I'm reading it for the first time. You know, it's been so long. But yeah, it's so far I'll say it's good, but it hasn't had the same pull and on me as a lot of other Star Wars books that I've read in the past, I don't know, 6-7 years. 10 years, I guess 10 years. But yeah. I'm going to keep reading it. Right. Anyway, I appreciate that, Nick. Vince, good to see you, man, on this Thursday evening. Vince says, in and out tonight, but before I go, I have an important question. George Carlin shows up in a phone booth time machine. Where are you taking it? Me and George? Me and George Carlin? In a time booth, in a phone booth time machine. Where are we taking it? All right, let me take a quick sip of this little hazy IPA here. All right, so I have zero desire to go into the past. Zero desire. I'm happy with the accounts of history that we have, as Swiss cheese hold as they are. You know, I'm fine. The past is the past. The accounts that we have of it, you know, I'm fine with. I would take that time machine to the future. Me and George Carlin would go, let's say, 1,000 years into the future. I want to go 1,000 years into the future. I want to see what we become. I want to see what problems we've solved and what new problems we've put ahead of ourselves. I would want, again, I have zero desire to go into the past. If I had a time machine, I would go into the future because I want to see what we do. I want to see what boundaries we push. I want to see what we figure out. I want to see, you know, what the whole of humanity is up to 1,000 years from now. I want to see where our technology is. I want to see if we're getting along a little bit better. I want to see, you know. I want to see, you know, yeah, right, Vince, like, let's program the, George, hey, program the time machine for 1,000 years into the future. And you just get there and you're dead because there's no atmosphere and and like, yeah, no atmosphere. Everything's scorched and burned up. There's a giant an asteroid has split the Earth in half. But yeah, that's what I would want to do if I had a time machine, man. Future, all aboard. Choo choo, the future train. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. Oh, George. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Is this in? Well, hold on. Is this Bill? Hold on. Okay, that's what I thought it was in reference to. Bill and Ted's. And the Circle K is in reference. I've only seen that movie once, the original Bill and Ted's, and that was when I was a kid. I really have no memory of it, to tell you the truth. Worst case scenario, nothing has changed. Twilight Zone music. Yeah. We're still making phones. We're still... Yeah. Arguing on the internet 1,000 years from now. I hope not. Or maybe it'll be like Wall-E. Nobody has to do nothing. How many calories did you burn today, Jim? 3. 3? Yeah, I cracked open a Coke. 3 calories to crack open a Coke. Favorite film of the year? Shit, man, Oppenheimer. But you know what a close second is? A close second is the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie. That shit was fun, man. That shit was fun. Vince, I have a little short story to recommend to you. There's I don't know if you're much of a reader, but there's a good 28-page short story that I read last night. It's free on Amazon Prime if you have a Kindle. It's called Slow Time Between the Stars. And it's 28 pages, and you can read it in 40 minutes or whatever. And it's so good. It's so good. It's from the perspective of an AI that was sent out to kind of seek out hospitable or habitable planets where it could basically seed the planet for humans. And it doesn't get into a lot of detail. It's more of the AI's inner monologue about being in the vastness of space and the I don't know, the morality, the struggle of its morality to I don't want to spoil it. It's great. It's one of the best things I've read in a long time. Slow Time Between the Stars. Fantastic. Short read, great read. But is the new Good Burger movie out? November. It comes out in November. All right. Comes out in November. I'll probably go see it. Why not? I say that, but I definitely won't. Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda. Oh, I have to hop off here, but I would love to go down a rabbit hole of 90s kids nostalgia. Maybe we'll do that next stream. Tamowski. I'm gonna say Tamowski. If I butchered it, I apologize. Correct me in the chat. Tamowski, thank you so much for the channel support. What is the best lesson learned from the Skywalker saga? I personally feel it's the lesson to learn from the failure in The Last Jedi. Oh, the lesson was to learn from failure. Yeah, that's definitely a lesson. Also, those who even The Force Awakens, like with Han Solo. There's lessons there in the myth of a human being. You know, the pedestal that we put people we think are great on, and how they they have faults, they have fears, you know. Those who seem the most stoic, they're still human, you know. And despite all of the stories and tales and myths and legends that surround some of even real-world historic figures, they were just human. And they had faults and fears and ambitions, and they were scared. And they tried. And I think that's a big lesson for especially The Last Jedi. And also the rigidity of maybe dogma, and how a rigid dogma maybe this is just me reading into it and not intentional, but like a rigid dogma really can't stand it. It will crack, it will break, there will be outliers. But oh, I nailed it. Nice. Tamowski. There you go. I like that. Is that your last name? I mean, I don't mean to get personal, but I like that, Tamowski. That sounds like a name that would be in a movie. Tamowski. You got those reports? Yes, sir. I like that, if that's your last name. But I appreciate that, Mr. Tomowski. Cheers, man. George Heilman, good to see you. George coming in with the final super chat and channel support before I have to hop off here and watch some Thursday night football. First regular season game of the season. I'm excited, man. George says, TLJ, Andor, Rogue One, The Force Awakens, Mando, Kenobi, Tales, Dooku only, Book of Boba Fett, The Rise of Skywalker, Solo. That's the order. I like that order. I would put Rogue One lower. And that's really about the only change. I'd put Rogue One lower. Oh, George, interesting. I think the only changes between my list and your list would be to swap Rogue One and Solo and move The Force Awakens ahead of Solo. And then our lists are basically identical. Interesting. Also, John Wick 4 was my favorite until Oppenheimer. Seen 5 times. 5 times, including 2 IMAX screenings. Luscious. Yeah, I loved Oppenheimer. We saw it in IMAX as well. And when I got out of the theater, I was like, I loved that, but I probably won't ever watch it again. I don't know if I have a desire to watch it again. And that was when it first came out. And I got to tell you, I do have a desire to watch it again. I mean, despite it being 3 hours, and it's really hard for me to find a chunk of 3 hours to myself to watch it. Watch things that I want to watch, especially something I've already seen before. But I do. I have a desire to see it again, which is kind of surprising because I got out of the theater and I was like, yeah, I love it, but I probably won't ever watch it again. We all have those movies, right? Is John Wick 4 the newest one? I've only seen the very first John Wick movie, George. But I have seen a lot of the most recent one. Is John Wick 4 the one that with the blind guy and he Yeah, I saw a bunch of that. We were at the fire station and one of the guys turned it on. But I only watched like 45 minutes of it because we got call after call after call, and eventually we just gave up on watching it. It was one of those days. It's like whenever you sit down to try to actually watch a movie you're interested in at the station, you get call after call after call, and you can never finish a movie. But if it's some bullshit movie that you don't care about, you barely get any calls, I feel like. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was Donnie Yen. Yeah, it was. I've only seen the first one. I like the first one. I'm sure I would like the other ones, but I feel like I've seen the first one. I've seen them all. Is that true? That's just kind of how I feel. But anyway, I appreciate that, George. All right, guys, I gotta go. It's getting late. All right, so working tomorrow, Saturday. I might do I'll do a stream on Sunday night. I'll stream Sunday night. I don't know if I'll be able to get a video uploaded or anything. I don't know if I'll be able to get a video uploaded Saturday or Sunday. Probably not. Saturday, yeah. But I will be doing a stream Sunday night. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, this was fun. I think the next stream that I do will be all about 90s nostalgia, because somebody brought up Good Burger, and it'd be a fun topic of conversation for an hour. Get a little nostalgic. But alright, guys, enjoy the rest of your morning, your afternoon, your evening, wherever you are on planet Earth. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Cool? Cool. Alright. See ya.